I think it always starts. Well, it generally starts with I put the guitar into a particular tuning, or the guitar is in a particular tuning, and you improvise around in that, and that's obviously coming directly from how you're feeling at that time. And I find what tends to happen is that something will emerge that expresses that feeling, but also seems to resonate with some kind of memory of something, and those two things work against each other, and a piece comes together. And I think that one of the things that really appeals to me about solo guitar is that you can reflect moods and places and experiences of your own in a way that other people can understand. So it's great when you play a piece and people come up to you afterwards and talk about their emotional response to that, and it either matches up with or complements your own emotional experience developing that piece of music in some way. And that seems to me to be the major appeal of doing this kind of music, is that you can reach people emotionally with quite a simple approach. I don't think you can make many useful comparisons between my music and Stefan's. I think it feels to me like Stefan's kind of assimilated a lot of the stuff that I'm interested in and that he's interested in, and he's chewed it all up, and he's way out the other side already, and in a way that very few players are. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head who's done that thing that he seems to me to be doing anyway, where he's got down all the stuff that a lot of people are into and want to be able to do, but he's on to the next page now almost. So I view him as a very specific and unique musician, and who's completely nailed his thing and is pursuing it doggedly. Getting a week with Stefan was something I was really excited about, to get some insight from him into his process and find out a bit more about where he's coming from, and the tour saw good on that in terms of just hanging out with Stefan and seeing him play in more informal settings and just chatting to him about his experiences. It's been it was a really interesting encounter. So this is a zippy zither, which is a child's toy that was sold in 1960s and 70s. It would have a paper inlay that would go up. You could put in a paper inlay over the strings, so it would have dots where to pluck your string to play out the tune of a nursery rhyme or whatever. And they're knocking about in junk shops and on eBay occasionally. I found mine in a fairly nasty antique shop in Nottingham. And Stefan came to stay. We played in Nottingham the night before we played in Manchester, and this was by the bedside where he slept, and he came down with it in the morning and was quite pleased to have found this thing, and said that maybe as a crazy idea, which is one of Stefan's stock phrases, is a crazy idea. Maybe I could play this thing, do an improv on it live. Fred and Evelyn is the last song on the Of Time and Tides LP. It's a fairly simple piece in waltz time. It's kind of atypical of the stuff that I do. I wrote it for my wife's grandparents, who I came to know in the final years of their life, and they were really decent people. They were always interesting company. I think people sometimes go on about old people in Britain and how they go on about the wartime and all of that. But actually, I hadn't had that kind of relationship with my grandparents. They all died when I was quite young, or I fell out of touch with them. So I used to find it fascinating to talk to them about their experiences in the war, and they actually met on the Isle of Tiree, up in Scotland, where my wife's grandfather was placed with the RAF and fell in love during the war. And I have this lovely Martin guitar, which my wife bought for me with some money that her grandmother left for her in her will. And I kind of wanted to commemorate them and in some way commemorate the fact that the reason that I have this wonderful guitar is because of them. So I wrote this waltz piece, and actually after they died, the family all went up to Tiree and scattered their ashes together into the waters off the coast. And I played the piece on the beach there when we did that, which felt right, and it felt strange because I had their ashes underneath my fingernails while I was playing them away, and they were floating off into the waters. But it was important to me to include that on the record, and it captured some of the kind of themes in my life at that time when I made the record. I was thinking a lot about being a parent, and also about the end of life and the inevitability of death, and it kind of seemed to bring that all together. And as we left the beach, I found a bird skull, which is the skull that's on the cover of the LP.